Welcome, everybody, to the Sheena and Sheila show. We're getting caught up after Sheena's big vacation in New Zealand. And this has been, Sheena was right there when it happened. And could you give us just a little report of what all you just experienced there?
Thank you and welcome everybody. And as I always say, if it's the first time you've been watching the show, please only take into heart what feels right for you. I only ever offer and share this information with you. It was a joy to visit New Zealand. I did have a knowing that there would be another earthquake, but I'm not allowed to say these things. It's a natural course and it has to run its course. So I was very blessed. When I was walking around Christchurch, I could see an overlay of the ground shaking again. And I did say to my guardians and my guides, do I need to leave here now, like get out really quick? Will I be in an earthquake? And they said, no, child, you're safe. No need to go yet. And so we did head from the South Island to the north. And last night, or yes, the night before, was the beginning of this huge big supermoon. So we did not actually know there'd been the earthquake, although I felt the ground moving. At one stage I was standing in the North Island and I was rocking and I could feel it. I always feel these things before they occur. And I went, whoa, the ground is moving. It's taking place. It's sort of a conscious and an unconscious thing that takes place. Where the earthquake actually took place, we had been and we drove along that road, and it's where we went up in the aeroplane over that land, and where the huge big landslide was where we'd stopped. We'd visited the seals and took photos of all the beautiful seals there. A lot of people don't know the side of New Zealand on the east coast, underneath the ocean floor, is one of the deepest ocean trenches in the world. So it's part of what we know as the Ring of Fire. And it is an epicenter. It is volcanic and it is active. So where they built this city, Christchurch, is an active epicenter, and they're rebuilding. Christchurch wasn't the epicenter this time. It was north, where whale watching takes place. And it was interesting, the day that we went, there were no whales. It was like the whales knew that this was coming and they'd headed it out to sea, and they hadn't come in for quite a while. So it was very sad that there was a loss of life. But the Earth is a living planet. She's alive and she does move, and she has tectonic plates and they shift. It's like a breath. It's a breath in and a breath out. Usually every 100 years there's a cycle where the Earth moves. So to me, I've seen this eons after eons, and it's natural. It's a natural progression. But it was very interesting where we took the photos of where the chapel or the church was in the middle of Christchurch, the building, the cathedral, and there was this extraordinary chalice that had been built by the people, and they had a memorial there of 128 or 25 white chairs, where one of the buildings where most of the people were killed. And this is a standing memorial, like a living memorial, to all the people that had crossed over in the original earthquake in 2011. So it's quite a profound memorial when you stand there, because there was quite a tall building there. But I did go to the square, and there was this extraordinary man singing, and he was blind. But when you got closer, it was actually Archangel Michael's energy. He was there just singing to the people, even though he was blind. And I did feel the presence of the energy of this earthquake coming.
Wow.
So it is just Mother Earth breathing, and it's normal. We are so blessed in today's modern society. We have equipment that will tell you where these seismic activity takes place and when these things are going to occur. One of the things that always fascinates me is why mankind, in their their way of thinking, why they think that they perhaps can go against the forces of Mother Nature. Wouldn't it be simpler to build your buildings somewhere else?
Right?
People that live in places in America like Tornado Avenue and they rebuild houses, wouldn't it be more simple to build the houses underneath the ground? We have an amazing place here in Australia, in the middle of Australia, and out near the centre where the temperatures go up like 50 degrees above. And what they've done is they've built the town underneath the ground in the earth. It's extraordinary. All the houses are like caves underneath the ground because the earth is so cooling.
Yeah.
So you arrive in this town and there's nothing, but it's all underneath the ground because
cool.
with the elements, yeah, it's amazing. I think it's near Cooper Pedy where they do the mining, where they do the opal mining. And they're all air conditioned. You might see little stacks sitting up and they're extraordinary to live under the ground.
Wow. So is it like a big community?
Yeah, it's a town, but you don't know it's there unless because it's underground.
Wow.
I think you can Google it.
Right.
But to me, the earth is so extraordinary. And we would be much more in harmony if you worked with it instead of going against the forces of nature. You can't go against the forces of Mother Earth. So, but this was meant to be, as most things are.
And we just clean up and move on.
And learn from it.
Yeah. Well, I lived on the fault line in California in 3 different places. And
you mean the San Andreas fault line?
Yes.
The one that San Francisco's built on?
Yes. I lived, my house was like, 5 miles from the fault line in Lancaster. And at some point in my mind, I'm like, this is kind of silly.
Yes.
Okay. And I didn't think I would ever leave Southern California. And then I had an opportunity to move up here to Washington. Well, you know, you really, we got there's fault lines kind of everywhere, you know, but.
They can map them now. We know where they are now.
Yeah.
The other thing with the earthquakes, of course, is the tsunamis. I mean, the earthquake in 2011, I think it was around about a 5 scale. This one that happened, it was a 7.8, and there was a small tsunami. And of course, the ecoplasty that comes up from the earth, all the mud and everything. Yeah. To me, we are intelligent human beings. This is here 2016. Planet Earth, I think, yes. They measure time. So it's like we have this extraordinary planet and we know how her system works. Work with it. I know that they build extraordinary structures that actually can move. One of the interesting things was all the wooden buildings survived. The brick and the metal ones weren't flexible and didn't. Because a lot of people think the ground shakes. It doesn't. It rolls. It rolls with an earthquake.
Yes.
So I've actually been in an earthquake when I was younger. It was the Meckering earthquake in Western Australia in the ranges.
I was raised with earthquakes, and and especially in California, you know, there was always some major damage. I was out camping at Joshua Tree one time when the earthquake came, and Joshua Tree is just boulders stacked.
Yeah.
We had our tent there, and we could hear little pieces of sand fall between the rocks, and then we could hear the rumble and actually felt the ground do this. And we're just laying there and going with the roll of this.
Yeah, it's a roll.
It's amazing. And as a child, I could see an earthquake coming and could see that cement roads actually can wave.
Yes.
It's an amazing thing to see. And quite frankly, you know, it wasn't until the tsunami happened in Japan that was the first time that I had really, witnessed a tsunami, of course, from California here, or from Washington. But I never really quite believed that California would ever. They're so populated. How could anything that devastating actually happen? Yeah, it can, unfortunately.
As I said, though, we are so blessed in the age of mankind that we're in, that we have this incredible technology. And look, my girlfriend that I visited in Christchurch, she's extraordinary, and she has an app. She can tell you exactly how many earthquakes happen during the day and what magnitude they are, because they're in that epicenter. It's constant. The ground is constantly moving and shaking. I feel it in spirit first. I'll feel it a couple of days before anything like that happens, and I can actually be spiritually moving sideways within my body, and I'll go, we've got an earthquake coming. It's like Mother Earth's moving. Right. I don't know whether you get that, or I'll know when there's like a mass crossing or a tsunami. There's different energies that I feel that come through me, and I know what they are now.
Yes, I can tell. I actually saw the San Francisco earthquake the night before it happened. And I didn't even know that I had that ability at that point. So I was sort of agitated all day after I'd had that, wondering why would I dream such a thing? And then at 5:00 that evening is when it happened. And then I saw exactly what I had seen, and it was pretty amazing. And now that I've become more aware of not only the projects that I do, but how connected I am to the earth. When Japan has any activity, I feel it on the right side of the back of the bottom of my back. So on my body, it's the same map as the earth.
Yes, that's right.
Japan is located here at my lower back. And so whenever that gets really stiff, if I find myself rubbing that, I'm like, here goes Japan. And for 5 days before the tsunami happened there, I could barely walk.
Yes, it's extraordinary, because everything happens in spirit first. First and foremost, we are eternal spiritual beings, and we exist in the metaphysical, and we are incarnated into this dimension, having experienced at this dense vibration. So everything happens spiritually or metaphysically first, and then it manifests into this denser vibration or into this dimensional realm on the earth. So there's things too that we do feel it in our body. We are the universe without is the universe within, because our body is created from all the minerals and salts that the earth is created from. So our bodies are part of the earth, the vessel that we travel in. So to me, you make perfect sense to me.
I was shown a vision at one point of the earth and with the grid lines, and then I saw the same grid lines on me, and they would point a little star on the earth, and then I would see where it is on my body, so that all they were simply trying to tell me is you are one with the earth here. So that was, and when Katrina happened, for a week before, I kept saying, "Ooh, I keep hearing this whoosh, whoosh." I kept hearing the wind and feeling the wind, and I didn't realize that I was capable of that either. And then I was actually on a cruise in Alaska when that hit, and that was pretty surreal to be on a luxury vacation cruise, knowing that there was just being, something so devastating happening at home. It was very interesting. Whenever you're an empath like this, you really have to learn how to deal. It's just like you knowing and not being able to really talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. The experiences that we have as human beings, when we're in service, it's accepting the responsibility, but knowing that first and foremost, you're an eternal spiritual being. And some of the experiences that are happening, people call them disasters, but you've actually, on some level, chosen to come to the earth realm to actually have that experience.
Right.
You're already an eternal spiritual being. Nothing can take your heart away or take your light out.
Right.
Not really. There's always a spark there.
Right.
And
there was a good reason why you were there in New Zealand at the time that you were as well.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. I keep scratching my lip today. I don't know why. Maybe I have a Spanish gardener cutting the grass outside. My beautiful friend from Spain came to share the holiday with me in New Zealand, and he's a lovely soul, and learning about Australia is quite an experience. It's the best way I can say it. And so if you hear a noise outside, he's on the ride-on lawnmower. We're just praying that he doesn't come across any Australian critters that come across. Yeah.
Watch out!
We hear a loud squeal.
There's a Spaniard on the mower.
My girlfriends and I all got together because in Australia we have a standing Australian joke that a lot of Europeans or world travellers don't know about. We do have our koala bears, but we have another bear that people are unfamiliar with, and it's called a drop bear. And they actually drop out of the trees and attack you. And they're quite little and furry. So my girlfriends bought a few toy bears and wanted to put them up in the trees, and we'd all told Fernando stories about watch the trees, you'll get attacked by a drop bear. These are fictitious bears that we tell this story. That's not true. But it's actually, if you Google it, you can read about drop bears. They drop on you out of the trees. They don't really. But we had so much fun with it. We're quite, it was like being teenagers again and just having a joke with a friend who didn't know. And we had him going for a little while till we presented. Someone came in with one of the toy bears stuck to the throat, and they said, I've got a drop bear on it. Quick, help me. You know, like, oh my God, we had some fun. Yeah, no, it was good.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Well, we were going to talk about Archangel Raphael here, and so let's learn a little bit of the aspects of Raphael.
Okay, well, as we spoke about last show, Archangel Raphael, which many people will not know of in the earth realm, who holds the subconscious gateways, is like a twin being to Archangel Raphael, and Raphael are like intertwined. Now, Archangel Raphael, of course, the energy means God heals. And of course, God is however you conceptualize God or the divine to be. And whenever we talk about angels, it's not in a religious context. The word angels means messengers, and they are a higher consciousness. They usually do not incarnate because of the high ethereal vibration that they are, but they're part of the cosmos. They're part of everything. They help facilitate a lot of these experiences for us. Archangel Raphael, of course, is always stood at the back of me since I was a child and always been there. And I've always worked with Archangel Raphael. It's not just in this lifetime, all lifetimes. Yeah. And for the earth realm, each of these archangels actually are the gatekeepers. A lot of people may not know this as well, but they're gatekeepers to the centers of consciousness that make up our spiritual template, that allow our consciousness to incarnate into metaphysical and then be born into a physical form. So Archangel Raphael, of course, holds all the healing codes for mankind's diseases, for what mankind needs. Now, bear in mind, some of us come in deliberately having the codes adjusted so that we may experience a particular ailment or particular condition to learn something. Mm-hmm. So some of it is chosen before we are born.
Right.
But when you're going through a healing process, Archangel Raphael has always advised me And because I've said to Archangel Raphael, I have that understanding that everything is energy and we are pure energy as well. We're one of the densest forms of light we can vibrate at. So I know that all things are possible, nothing's impossible, and all things can be healed energetically. And I often talk to Archangel Raphael for advice, because as a healer, I was raised, Sheena, this life, I was raised and taught directly from Spirit, from the Archangels and from Sananda, the Christ consciousness. So I did not have a physical mentor. I chose to do it like that because I did not want mankind's concepts to influence me. I wanted it straight from the divine. I wanted it pure, and I wanted it simple, the simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
So these are my soul family, my brothers and sisters, and I was created to incarnate. That's a challenge in itself, yes, to be human. So what he explained to me was, you must do everything in your power to get well. What path you choose to heal, there's no right or wrong. It's your experience as a human being. So if you need surgery to heal what you have to remember God also put the doctors on the planet too, and they're extraordinary, and our physical beings are an extraordinary being. If you choose to do a natural path, do what suits you. Do everything in your power to heal. There is no right or wrong. And as a healer, it's got nothing to do with me and what I believe in or what I know. Each person that stands in front of me, the question I've always been taught to ask is, how best can I serve this person in their truth? What is it that they need me to be in service for them for? So I was taught that very, very early on. But Archangel Raphael is part of the angelic library. You can go to Archangel Raphael as a healer and you can ask, how best can you serve each person in their own truth? And Archangel Raphael, together with the guardian angel that watches over that person, will bring through exactly what that person needs. So you might be a practitioner of a particular modality, but only the people of that particular modality that need that modality can come to you. I teach multidimensional healing with the legions of light and the angelic realm. So that means that each person that's in front of me, I might have 10 people in a room and they might all be suffering with the same condition, but you might need to approach their healing journey 10 different ways according to what they need, what their soul needs, what their experience is. You don't wish to rob them of their lesson. I always check with the guardian angel first. And Archangel Raphael, of course, is such a wonderful mentor and such a wonderful healer. And it is about the person and their journey. Of course, as a healer, a lot of people is similar to a doctor. A doctor takes an oath to help save that soul. And so as a healer, we also have a special divine responsibility to that person. I'll tell you now, if someone's approached you and you're a healer to help them heal, and whatever you've tried hasn't worked, you might believe, oh, well, they're not accepting it. They don't believe it. Look deeper. Go to Archangel Raphael and ask him, show me what else it is I need to see. Because there may be something for you both to learn. I've always known that every person that comes into my life, that we're all each other's teachers and all each other's students. And I always get to learn the most amazing things with every person that presents to me. And of course, thank you. All right. The other thing that Archangel Raphael always explained to me, not only must each person do everything in their own power to heal, so there's actually no right or wrong way. It's what the person conceives in their own concept of what will heal is the path to follow and to support them in every way possible. But the other thing that the healers and my own spirit taught me, and Archangel Raphael, and of course all the healing masters, especially the healing master Jesus, he's extraordinary. He holds many, many healing codes for all of mankind's diseases. That is, we are an eternal spiritual being, and we're embodied in this extraordinary vessel, and this human body has its own soul, and it has a mental body and an emotional body. So the healing has to take place on many levels. Healing in spirit, in the mental energy, in the emotional energy, and in the physical. So to heal at the physical, you need something in the physical. So whether or not you change your diet, or whether you use aromatherapy, or whether you use scientific medication, your physical being needs something at the physical to assist the healing process. Of course, you can heal just in spirit, and the energy will work its way through the different layers and the different density of light. But if you also take something in the physical, you're actually speeding up that process. And so they meet in the middle. And I found in my healing experience, it can take up to 2 physical years for a healing to completely present itself and be healed on every aspect and every layer. Whereas when I was taught to also deal with the physical at the physical, and for the person to take physical responsibility for themselves as well as emotional responsibility, mental responsibility, spiritual responsibility, that healing process speeds up. It can almost be instant in some cases, or take 6 months in some cases. And I also chose to experience certain things. And having just turned 62, I've been through a lot of experiences myself to learn so that I can share that with others. So some of the things that I've experienced and had in my physical being, which are not meant to be able to be cured, I have been cured, and doctors have said, Sheena, we don't know what you've done and how you've done it, but keep it up. And so I've had physical evidence of that taking place, which I sort of, it's joy to have had that experience. At the time, I didn't like it.
Right.
But having had it, then it's now part of my experience that I can share energetically with others and be a guide or inspirational for them that things are possible. Now, there will be some brothers and sisters that they choose not to stay here and they choose to step back into their true form. But have faith and trust that whatever they've experienced will help their spirit grow and evolve as a spiritual being. Yes. So, yeah, Archangel Raphael is very extraordinary. As I said, I do love working with Archangel Raphael. Now, as a healer, you can do a couple of different things when you're working with Archangel Raphael. You can actually ask them, instead of asking them to help you, one of the things they taught me is for me to ask, may I help them?
That's so interesting.
It's a different experience. When you ask them to help you, they step close and they will assist you as much as they can from that very high vibration to this very dense vibration of light. And the same with our Lord Jesus, the healing master, and with the Buddha and with the other masters that we work with. If you change the request and you say, may I help you, then you are giving them permission to step in closer to you and almost merge with you. You can feel Archangel Raphael's hands overlapping yours and allowing him to guide you, because you're asking, may we be the vessel for you to come in closer. And of course the key is your heart and your pure love, your unconditional love and your joy. And that allows them permission, because the angelic realm, you were given the gift of free will. They will not impose themselves upon you unless you ask. So just enjoy that. And of course, it is your intention that is paramount, your pure intention. They've always taught me that. Because sometimes I've said to them, okay, what if you've got someone who can't read, can't write, someone like Helen Keller who can't hear, and you can't teach them metaphysical knowledge? I said, can the healing take place? I know the answer to the question, of course, but I love to challenge questions, yeah. Of course, you don't need to know all of this knowledge. Of course, having this knowledge is wonderful. It's part of your humanity, and we were given this gift of this incredible mind so we can learn and experience things. But I always say to all my students, I don't need to teach you a thing. if your pure intention sits there and with the purest intention you ask and you pray or ask, praying is asking, it can take place. Of course it can take place. Of course it can happen. Because in you asking gives other energies permission to intervene, to assist. Yeah? So, and then of course students go, no, but we still want to learn. What is it that you can teach? And I go, just have your pure intention and have faith. Yeah?
Right.
Having said that, it's a lot of fun to learn.
I remember one of my first, taking full responsibility for my health comes in stages, especially when you come from a childhood where I was, the pattern was to take antibiotics if you sneeze. And so it wasn't until I was 18, moved out on my own, that I could start weaning myself off of antibiotics because I was taking responsibility myself. And I started meeting people for the first time who were in leaning more in the healing area, which was all new to me. But I found out that I have just such extreme adverse effects from pharmaceuticals, and every time I took some, I would get sicker and sicker and sicker, and was in partial sickness. And I remember one time I had this big knot on my wrist here. It was just big, like the size of a walnut. And I said, well, this is going to be my big trial, for energetic healing. And I must say, and I was new at it, and I was very new at it, okay? And it did take some time, but it did absolutely disappear. What I learned from that was patience. Yes. The other thing that I learned about that was taking my focus away from it, because everything that happens to you, the big C word comes into your mind that, it's going to be cancer and you're going to die.
Excuse me one moment, please. My friend Fernando is just walking in the door. So I'll just let you know. Excuse me, Fernando, I'm just, we're recording to America. So come and say hello. Come and say hello. We're online. We're on air. Okay. He's very shy. So I was just letting him know we're recording.
Yes. Yeah. Is he coming on? Did he just?
No, he's not. He's very shy. Yeah, so, but the other thing, very similar to you chose that journey in the beginning to experience the scientific medicines. I had the opposite as a child. They could never give me anything scientific. Fernando, he's just been helping in the garden, which is wonderful. Yeah. So we're live on air, Fernando. We are recording. This is going live. This is on air. This is on YouTube. This is real. You have to put your head down a little bit. So you can, hello. There you go. Thanks, Fernando. Hello. Yeah. It's going. So, yeah. So what happens is I had the opposite effect to you. They tried to give me scientific medication and it nearly killed me. I went into anaphylactic shock with the antibiotics. And so it was very, very different for me. They couldn't use scientific medicine on me. So my mother had she used Chinese medication and used acupuncture on me as a child, and she knew I was very sensitive. So I was raised with alternative medicine as a child because scientific medicine wouldn't work. So I had to find ways that would suit me. Which was very interesting because people would always say, oh, you've got to go to the doctor, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. And I would do what they suggested, but it actually didn't work for me. It works for me to do it my way, which is very interesting, but I understand everybody else has to do it their way. Right. So,
and I had to find my way, and it was quite a discovery because I didn't know that many people at the time who were natural healers. And it really wasn't until I left California and come up here that I started meeting healers, and thank God, because that's that's who I use now, and with the help of the angels. And interestingly, and I would kind of like to make this clear. I've been calling upon angels for a long time, not even knowing their names or who. I just knew that you could call upon them, and then to get to know their signatures, each one of their signatures, that makes it special, and it makes it, I like having my cosmic life. I like having my relationships with multidimensional beings. I like that part of my life. It feels more natural that way for me. So
I was very blessed as a child to meet them, and they used to speak with me. So I knew that I would be okay. I remember as a very, very small child, I disappeared. I was on the farm, and there was a hole in the fence to the next door neighbour's chook pen, and I nicked through there, and I nicked off because I saw a light and I followed it. And this is farmland with big dams in it. If you just excuse me one moment, I'll let Fernando know that he's actually on the video. Fernando, excuse me, you're actually in the video. If you thank you, dear. He didn't realise. Yeah, he's looking at his, we're repairing an American Indian bracelet for him. So, yes. So what happened was I nicked off, and I saw a light, and I followed it. And they had all the town looking out for me because they thought I'd drowned in the dam. They were nearly ready to drag the dam.
Wow.
And so what happened was my father found me in a little graveyard in a church. Okay, so they found me in a graveyard in a church. And I was at the base of a statue of an angel. I was actually talking with Archangel Raphael.
Wow.
And baby, and I was saying to Archangel Raphael, what do I have to do in the earth realm? And he said to me, child, everything will be okay. You will be okay. Mm. My father found me in this graveyard in this church, miles and miles and miles away. They still don't know how I got there. I just walked. I was in my nappy. I just walked. And but I knew, and I would always have Archangel Raphael reassuring me along the way, you will be okay. Everything will be all right. Because it was very overwhelming for me to be consciously aware and such a small being that I couldn't speak to people and explain to them what I knew, what I understood. Although my mother did say that I started talking from the day she brought me home. And I didn't crawl. I just got up and walked. That was a challenge for my mum. Right. So, but as a healer, I always just had an awareness of what to say to people, and usually a smile can lift their spirits. And some of the best healing I know has been done over a cup of tea with friends.
Absolutely.
I can teach all of the metaphysics that you want to learn, which is so much fun for those that want to go on that journey. And later on, we'll have a really good talk about all the work that can be done multidimensionally. The most important thing is to be human. Experience your humanity, because this is the gift. This is the gift. You are already an eternal spiritual being. But to experience emotion, to be able to have a thought, to be able to express your divinity in creative ways, to be able to eat chocolate, experience your humanity. Yes. That is how our spirit grows and evolves. Yes.
And that is one small way to celebrate each day. I mean, especially in times like right now when things are kind of chaotic. We have always been told that there is always something to be grateful for. And I'll tell you what, I am grateful that I have my own little world here that is just peaceful and happy and funny, and it's global, and it's universal, and I have created a beautiful life for myself, and I let the rest of the world have its chaos.
That's exactly it. You actually have free will. You can choose which energy to exist in.
Mm-hmm.
And there's those that choose to experience the group energy. But always remember, you do have free will. You can step away. And remember that the media and things like Facebook and everything, they are a tool. They're your tool. So use them how you choose to use them. And like anything if you Google, you will get two sides of the story. So choose which one's right for you. You have choice, you have free will. And of course, remember, you have the most extraordinary divine beings, higher consciousness watching over you. And while you're learning, don't hesitate to ask for assistance or help. And if you've been overwhelmed with energy that is depressing you, there are many that have chosen to do their mastery without assistance. They want to do it themselves, and I understand that, because I want to learn myself. I want to do this myself. And I did that in many cases, and then when I got in too deep, I'd go, could I have a little bit of assistance, please? I could just do it, because they're always there to help. You don't hesitate to ask when it gets overwhelming. Say, could you just lift this energy off me, please, to help me? And they will. Of course, they're there to help. Yes, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing being part of this dimension, being human. So deep gratitude.
Sheena, you are one of the clearest examples of how you live life with being connected with the archangels and all. You don't do. There isn't anything you do that you don't invite them in first. That's what impressed me about you from the beginning, is that you do remind me to do it at that other level, at that spirit level first, before you really try to. It's so much simpler if you do it that way. Seriously, and I have become much better at it since we've been hanging out. Sometimes I have to talk to you and have you remind me, but seriously, and especially when you talk about building your home there and your center there, and the way you did that all in the light of spirit first, it's an extremely good example. And it is, especially since I'm involved in all these healing center ideas and everything, to me, it's like the number one thing that you must do first is to create that on that spirit level first. And with our cosmic brothers and sisters in energy.
Thank you, Sheila. I actually don't know how else to be. This is just the way that it is for me. For each person, you experience it in your own way. As I said, in most of my lives, this is the most human I've ever been. It's my time to experience this. It's as human as I can be. And it's a brave friends that share a journey with me that understand my quirk. I call it quirkiness. I call it not OCD, not obsessive compulsive disorder. I call it ACD, angel compulsive disorder. Right. So it's like, you'll see me take a quiet moment and they'll realise that I'm just having conversation, and I'm just so blessed to have the most extraordinary beings in my life.
So do you have a painting of Raphael?
I do. I have actually, I sent you one, but I can send it again. I don't have it handy here to show you.
She's still unpacking her center there. So in another month or so,
it'll be transformed. Yeah, trust me, it'll be transformed.
We'll see all of her paintings.
Boot camp Earth, reality check of what it's like unpacking back boxes.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, no.
And what color is associated with Raphael?
All archangels can channel the entire spectrum, So Archangel Raphael will appear to you on which vibrational ray you need. But with me, and this is, there's no hard and fast rule because everybody is unique in their energetic vibration.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I work in the communication center, or Archangel Raphael for me is the gatekeeper of what we call the throat chakra, which is communication.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a blue energy for me, but Raphael can come to you on the green ray, the pink ray. Any ray of energy is whatever's needed. But when I work with the Council of Seven, which I've always worked with in all the Atlantises, which are to do with divine law, and in this planet, for this earth, the Council of Seven, Archangel Raphael holds the center of consciousness for the throat, which is communication. And communication is the key to healing. Yes.
Nice.
Because many things are misunderstanding. So Archangel Michael will appear to many warriors on the blue, but if he comes to healing, he'll come on the green, which is the masculine heart. So, so there's no set colour for each archangel, but they will come to you on the colour that you need them to arrive at for you. That makes sense. So Archangel Raphael, of course, works the entire spectrum and covers and he works together with Archangel Raphael or she, depending on whether you need the masculine and feminine vibration. So it's not about them, it's about they're in service and they come to you with what's needed, if that helps. But for the purpose of the guide that I created, which is the metaphysical matrix, he holds the blue for this one.
Okay.
But once you learn how that works, you understand that it is flexible and it is multidimensional, and different shades of blue for different people. So that's, as I said, you can't structure spirit. You can give it a guide, but you can't structure it.
Right.
It's not structured like Earth realm. So that's a bit of an angelic joke.
Right. Well, and after we go through these angel series, it will be interesting. Well, the chart is going to be a great show when we can go over that chart that you've made, because that is just amazing. I like hearing stories. I try to do interviews with people who have had contact with their angels, who have had, experiences and episodes. And I like sharing those stories because so that people see that, this is kind of how it works for them and this is how it works for them, so that they know that there's not just this one way. It's, we're so unique. We're having unique experiences and I think when you hear of all the experiences, all the ways, then it kind of opens you up to your own experience.
And it helps you relax a little bit. I've had many beautiful healers. When I was a child, they said to me, "Child, you will teach teachers." I never understood what that meant until I was much older. And so I do get many amazing healers that come to me and they've gathered so much knowledge, and they say, all I help in doing is sharing with them what their spirit already knows. I help them remember, and how to bring all those pieces together and see the bigger picture. And because they don't particularly know which path they should do. And I always advise the healers to find a modality in the physical that will suit them, that brings them joy. Practice that, anchor that in, do become a practitioner if you wish in the physical, get your insurance, to live by the laws of this dimension, join your association, develop your skill in that area, and then you use that as your platform, physical platform for your multidimensional healing. That's how I teach, and it's a lot of fun. It takes about 4 years, and I like to self-empower people to develop their own blessings and what brings them joy, and we work with that. But this is a guide. This is a guide. Working with the Council of Seven is a lot of fun. But you cover all the bases like that,
Right.
Metaphysically cover all the bases. They are the beings that are in charge of the 7 healing rays created for mankind. Each planet has their own level of healing rays according to the template and the physical being that you're going to incarnate into, because the template is flexible, and that's what allows our consciousness to incarnate into different dimensions, that metaphysical template. And so once that metaphysical your consciousness incarnates into the template, and then the template incarnates into the physical form. So it's quite extraordinary. But with all the different experiences that the angels share with people, I think that's wonderful. I think that's wonderful for people to say, hey, there's more to us than meets the eye. There's more to you than just your physical being. And having those gorgeous angel experiences.
Right.
Yeah, I love what you do, Sheila. I love that you share so much and that you interview so many beautiful practitioners and they share their stories. And I think that's how it's done. Yeah.
Right, because like with a little bit of knowledge, it takes that mystery away. You know, I mean,
it takes the fear away, because you go, okay, I'm not the only one.
Yes.
People are having this.
Right. Right. Well,
Archangel Raphael, if you wish to meet Archangel Raphael, don't hesitate to ask, the way that we've taught you in the other shows. And Archangel Raphael, in most cases, will stand behind you, and you feel that beautiful energy wrap around you. There's no right or wrong where the Archangel Raphael presents to you, but Archangel Raphael will work together with your own personal guardian angel or angels, depending on how many you've been assigned for this journey, and they work together as a team. Yeah, so it's pretty amazing. Yeah, but don't hesitate to ask, no matter what religious faith you may be of or concept. There are aspects of these archangels through all other concepts and religions. They may not be known as the same name, but just like we have different aspects, the archangels have different aspects. There was an aspect of Archangel Raphael present in the Egyptian times. Not all the Egyptian gods or goddesses were archangels, but they were dotted through there. And so there are aspects that came through. Yeah, it's quite fascinating.
It's very fascinating. Well, I want to thank you again for all your sharing, all your information that you have, and your experiences, and I know that especially for your healers that you are assisting, and then they get to assist other people. I mean, you know, it's the domino effect is beautiful, and
that's the joy. That's the joy. Seeing them go out and stand in their own empowered energy, and they go on to teach others and share knowledge. And it's just wonderful. I am truly blessed that they've asked me to walk part of the path with them. And they're crazy enough, they want to keep walking the path after they're even going off and become beautiful practitioners themselves. Yeah. But we have a few videos to post up that we haven't had an opportunity to edit and post up of our adventures, both from the party. I believe there might be some videos. We might have to edit that quite a bit. But hopefully we'll get to see you in Australia one day, Sheila. We've put that out there. That's definitely a must on the bucket list. We'll do that.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm going to wait till you get all the work done.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Maybe do all the work first. Yeah. Because if you come here, you do have to assist. Yeah. But in the idea of making the barn was to facilitate workshops, and all my friends have christened the barn with their sleeping bags and their air mattresses and the fireworks, and it keeps it warm, so people can stay here overnight. But it's an extraordinary place to visit, both physically and metaphysically. And there's the beautiful lake when it's open, and then there's the Jenolan Caves. But the countryside here is an ancient land, an ancient continent, an island continent. So it has a very unique energetic signature, Australia, as each country does. Yeah. So I'll just have to let my friend know that his device is coming through on our show.
Okay, we're going to have to end this show here pretty soon. Here.
Yeah. He doesn't realise that it's actually really cool. Yeah. Thank you. Oh, my darling, thank you so much, and thank you to everybody who's been listening.
Absolutely.
And, only take into your heart what's right for you. And namaste. Namaste.
From my heart to yours, namaste. All right, bye-bye now.
I love you.